Hello everybody, it's Ocelot, and today we're going to be building around the Bloody Slash Ash of War. This is going to be a request from one of our members in the Discord. If you haven't joined it yet, there's a link in the description. I did some testing on different weapons and weapon classes, and I found out without any talismans and any buffs on great swords and curved great swords, you'll get better base damage off of the Ash of War Bloody Slash. However, I chose to go with the curved sword, the Scavenger's curved sword. Within the same class, it doesn't matter whether you're using a Scavenger's curved sword, Bandit's curved sword, with the same stats and on the same enemy, the weapon art has the same damage output. I chose a Scavenger's curved sword because I went with the occult affinity, which Bloody Slash scales off of. It scales off of arcane and a weapon level. So by putting it on a weapon that has innate bleed, not only is the weapon damage itself scaling off of arcane, but so is the bleed on it. Another good candidate would be the Flamberge. However, I'm using the Blue Dancer charm, so with the 10.0 weight of the Flamberge, you won't really benefit unless you're completely naked. And if you're completely naked, you really won't benefit off of the white mask or off of the Mask of Confidence, as just putting those two on will get you over the 16.0 soft cap of the Blue Dancer charm. After this fight with Malenia, I'll go over the ending stats, that is the RL 150 stats and equipment we came up with. But just going back to the occult affinity that I chose for the Scavenger's curved sword, not only does this create great synergy between the weapon art and the weapon, but this is an ideal candidate to pair with the Dragon Communion Seal. At plus 10, the Dragon Communion Seal gets an S scaling in Arcane and a B scaling in Faith. So we did spec into some Faith, but we are also relying on the Faith tier. That way we could hit that last soft cap of 80 in Arcane and have enough points to go with our other stats. Again, after this showcase with Malenia, we'll go over the complete build and RL 150 stats. And if I didn't mention, this fight against Malenia is on base new game. My rune level at this point was 140. So let's go over the recommended stats for RL 150. We have 54 Vigor, 20 Mind, 20 Endurance, 14 Dexterity, 23 Faith, 80 Arcane. We have the Bandit as a starting class. This will be the most optimal class for min-maxing. For incantations, we have Blessing's Boon, Golden Vow, Howl Shabriri. We also have Swarm of Flies, Blood Boon, and Dragon Incantations. So let's go ahead and take a look at the equipment. We have a plus 25 Scavenger's curved sword with Bloody Slash occult affinity. We have a short sword with seppuku on it just for buffing. We have a Dragon Communion Seal at plus 10 with 335 incant scaling, White Mask, Spellblade Trousers, Shard of Alexander, Crimson Amber Medallion plus 2, Lord of Blood's Exaltation, Blue Dancer Charm, Faith tier, Opaline Hard tier. We're in light load at 15.3 equip load, under the 16.0 soft cap of the Blue Dancer Charm. For bosses that don't bleed, you can switch out to the Mask of Confidence for plus 3 arcane and no debuff. You can switch out the Lord of Blood's Exaltation for the Roar Medallion. You can also use Flock's Canvas Talisman. I don't show it here, but we also have the Erdtree's Favor plus 2. You have a lot of different options for this build. This is not a bleed build. The White Mask and the Lord of Blood's Exaltation are mainly there for pre-buffing. Here is the buff routine. Drink our Flask, Blessing's Boon, Golden Vow, Howl Shabriri, switch to the short sword, put on seppuku, refill our FP, switch back to the Scavenger's curved sword, and this gives us an AR of 1095 on our light attacks, and a 358 incant scaling on the Dragon Communion seal. Again, this is a well-rounded build where you can switch off to lightning incantations. You can use fire incantations. With the faith tier, you have 33 faith, so you have access to all the powerful incantations, minus a few that require more faith. However, if you pick up the faith talisman and America's sword seal, you can get up to 43 faith, and picking up other pieces of armor and equipment, you can get even more faith than that. If you'd like to see a complete walkthrough and build guide on how to put this together, continue on with the video. So for min-maxing, since we'll be using the Scavenger's curved sword, you're going to want to choose the Bandit as your starting class, Golden Seed as the keepsake. In the top right, you'll see a link and in the description for the setup guide for early game runes and upgrade material. Once you complete that, come back here and level up. You're going to want to put 20 points into Vigor, 1 point into Mind, 6 into Endurance, 1 into Dexterity, 7 into Faith, and 1 into Arcane. I am here at Letty's Rise and just finished cheesing the Knight's Cavalry, so I'll go ahead and jump up the Spirit Spring and pick up this Memory Stone. Next, just west of Fort Faroth, there's a skull with another Spirit Spring. I'm going to warp there, and I'm going to pick up 2 Smithing Stone 7s, 1 Smithing Stone 8, and a Stone Sword Key. We'll be needing this later on in the playthrough, so since we're already here, we may as well pick it up now. Next, let's go to the Fort Gale north side of Grace. Just south of it, we'll go behind Fort Gale. We're going to be picking up Flame Grant Me Strength. We'll be using this until we pick up Howl of Shabriri. After, let's go ahead and go to the Cathedral of Dragon Communion. It's just southeast of our current position. Since we killed Grail for the runes, we'll have 5 Dragon Hearts. You can buy the 4 unnamed Dragon Breaths and Dragon Claw. We're going to mainly be using Dragon Ice and Rot Breath in this run. Let's make our way towards Altus so we can go pick up the weapon that we're going to be using. First, we're going to stop on this mark and on this mark. We won't be able to use it yet, but we're going to be picking up Howl of Shabriri and a Sacred Tear. On this third mark, we're going to be picking up Golden Vow Incantation. This last mark has the general location of the Scavenger's curved sword, the weapon we'll be using for Bloody Slash. So let's go ahead and pick up Howl first, the Sacred Tear, and then we'll continue on into Altus. On your way to the Sacred Tear, there's a Scarab here. This is purely optional. It has Frenzied Burst. I like using this later on in the playthrough to snipe the birds in Crumbling Farum Azula. Sacred Tear acquired, so let's go into Mount Gelmir. Corpse Stench Shack, this is where we'll be picking up the Golden Vow Incantation. Then we'll go get the weapon. So for 80 seconds, Golden Vow Incantation gives you plus 15% to all damage and plus 10% to all damage negation. Here again is the location of the Scavenger's curved sword. Since we're here in Mount Gelmir, let's make our way to Volcano Manor. So just keep heading up the following ladders. Eventually, you'll make it to this location, to the doors of Volcano Manor. We're going to be coming here to pick up some upgrade material, a talisman, and the Albinauric mask, which we'll be using until we get the Mask of Confidence. So up the stairs from the side of Grace, there's one smithing stone 6. Go back down, talk to Tanith, she'll give you the key. Make your way to the Prison Town Church side of Grace. Head out the doors and to the right. Follow the path past the Man Serpent and the Abductor Virgin. On the left where the Abductor Virgin is, you'll get another Smithing Stone 6. Next, drop all the way to the bottom. There's going to be 2 Smithing Stone 6s here. Across the lava and on the rooftops, you're going to find a Somber Smithing Stone 6. And 2 more Smithing Stone 6s across from the rooftop there. At the top, once you go up the lift, there's a Somber Smithing Stone 5. Let's go ahead and open up this door. On this next mark is going to be the Crimson Amber Medallion +1. This is going to be to boost our HP by 7% when equipped. On this next mark, we're going to be picking up the Albinauric mask. This gives us +4 to arcane, but it gives us 10% less healing from our flask of Crimson Tears. That is our red flask. Again, here's a location of the Albinauric mask. So we're done here at Volcano Manor. Let's go ahead and warp to Iji. If you don't have the side of Grace, from the South Academy side of Grace, head east to the gazebo. This will teleport you just south of Iji's location. Upgrade your weapon to +17. Now, let's go pick up the Ash of War we're going to be using. It's going to be in Fort Height. So head to the Fort Height west side of Grace. After that, we'll go to the Stranded Graveyard to pick up the Dragon Communion Seal. Also, we'll head here. There's a cave for the Blue Dancer Charm. Here at the Fort West Height side of Grace, go ahead and equip Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength, Dragon Ice, and Rot Breath, or whatever dragon incantations you choose to use. Also, equip the Golden Vow Ash of War to your Great Knife. We don't have the Faith tier yet, so we can't use a Golden Vow incantation. So here's a Godrick Knight that will give us Bloody Slash. Bloody Slash is acquired, and our early to mid game build is almost complete. Warp to the Stranded Graveyard, go to the Ashes of War menu and equip Bloody Slash to the Scavenger's Curved Sword. For now, we're going to use the Blood Affinity. Once we beat Radahn, we can get the Black Wet Blade and use Occult Affinity. Put 1 point into Arcane before using the Stone Sword key to open up the path into the Fringe Folk Heroes dungeon. At this point here, you want to drop off. This is optional. This is going to be the path to the Erd Tree's Favor +1. So it's just on the other end of this catwalk. However, there is a grafted scion that will drop down. And as you're leaving, there's another grafted scion. I just run from them, drop down to the bottom, and continue on to the middle of the dungeon. The next piece of equipment we'll be getting is a Dragon Communion Seal. So go ahead and easily take out this Spectral Banished Knight. He's going to do a one-time drop of the Dragon Communion Seal. Next, let's go to this mark into the High Road Cave. We're going to beat the dungeon boss for the Blue Dancer Charm. So with the Blue Dancer Charm acquired, let's head directly south from our position near this mark. We're going to the cave with patches in it. Before we can get in though, we'll have to take care of this invader. Easily take him out. Go into the cave. Patches will want to have a scuffle with you. I'd choose to take him out. It's up to you. You can leave him alive and chop from him in this cave, and he'll eventually move to Volcano Manor. Or you can just take him out and take the bell bearing to the Twin Maiden Husk at the Round Table. Next, we're going to this mark, Limgrave Tunnels. At the end, the dungeon boss is going to give us the Roar Medallion. This is going to boost our Dragon Breath incantations by 15%. Just the breath incantations. It will not buff Dragon Claw or Dragon Maw. So with the Troll down and the Roar Medallion acquired, let's go ahead and warp to the Round Table. We're going to talk to the Twin Maiden Husk. Give her Patches' bell bearing. From Patches' bell bearing, you'll want to buy the 3 Gold Pickle Foulfoot, Margit's Shackle, and the Missionary's Cookbook if you want to craft more Gold Pickle Foulfoot. This is optional. I only use the Gold Pickle Foulfoot that I purchased here and found along the setup. Also, you're going to want to buy a Memory Stone. Since we're here, let's upgrade our Dragon Communion Seal to +6. Next, we're going into the Weeping Peninsula. Here at Oridisse's Rise, we'll be picking up another Memory Stone. On this second mark, we'll be picking up the Faith Not Crystal tier, which gives us +10 to Faith for 3 minutes. And on this last mark, we're going to be picking up the Crimson Burst Crystal tier, which gives us HP regen over time. So first, let's start with the Memory Stone. Southeast of the Church of Pilgrimage is where we'll get the Faith Not Crystal tier. This gives us 10 levels of Faith for 3 minutes when we mix it in the Physic. Here's our last mark, the Minor Erd Tree. Let's go ahead and take out this Erd Tree avatar, which again is going to give us the Crimson Burst Crystal tier. This tier in the Physic will give us 7 HP per second for 3 minutes, which will grant us a total of 1,260 HP over time. On this mark is the Tower of Return. There's going to be a teleporter there that will take us to a section of Leyndell that's cut off from the rest of it. Here, let's go ahead and equip the Crimson Burst Crystal tier and the Faith Nut Crystal tier. There's going to be a golem blocking a chest. Once you take it out and get this semi-rare drop, the Golem's Halberd, you can open up the chest and get the Blue Blessed Dew Talisman. This gives you 1 HP per second regen, which I don't really use on the run, so this is purely optional and not necessary for the build. So let's go ahead and go after Margit. Let's go west of the Stormhill Shack site of Grace. Before we do that though, let's make sure we have our setup correct. We have Golden Vow Incantation, Flame Grant Me Strength, Dragon Ice, Rotten Breath, and Dragon Claw. Here's going to be our early to mid game buff routine. Let's equip the Albinaric Mask. We're going to drink our flask, put on Golden Vow, Flame Grant Me Strength, refill our FP, and send it.
Thou art of passing skill. Warrior blood must truly run in thy veins. Tarnished. I shall remember thee.
We have another talisman pouch. Let's go ahead and fill it up. I went with the Roar Medallion for plus 15% damage to the Dragon Breath attacks. Let's level up and put 2 points into Arcane. Go through Stormvale Castle, and next we'll be fighting Godrick. Godrick goes down, and that's one shard bearer down. You just need one more to access the capital. Here, I'm showing you that I consume the remembrances for their runes. I use these runes to level up, and the runes we get from the bosses. So let's level up and put 3 points into Arcane. Next, let's go east of the Smoldering Wall site of Grace to this mark. We're going after the Gold Scarab. Down goes the Clean Rot Duo. The Gold Scarab gives you plus 20% rune acquisition on defeated enemies when equipped. You do not need to have it equipped as the enemy's dying, just as you're getting the runes. So you'll see throughout the video that after killing a boss, I'll go to my inventory and switch to the Gold Scarab at the end. Next, let's go to the Academy. Make your way up to the Red Wolf. Before the Red Wolf though, underneath his boss fog door, there's going to be this chest here. It holds a ritual pot, which we can use later on for crafting freeze pots. So the Red Wolf goes down, and we get another Memory Stone. Let's use his runes to put 2 points into Faith, and make our way to Rennala. For phase 1, take out 2 of the sweetings first. Locate the third one. Before you take it out, put on all your buffs. Take it out. Then go after Rennala. If I would have ran to the side and started Dragonclaw, I wouldn't have got hit by her Comet Azure attack. Either way, Rennala goes down easily. Don't spend the runes just yet. Head back down the lift. If you go straight from where you came from, make a left. There's going to be a teleporter. This will take you to the Church of Vows. We're going to be buying an incantation from the Turtle Pope. We'll be getting Blessing's Boon. This grants us 8 HP per second and lasts 90 seconds. We'll be using this so we can swap out the Crimson Burst Crystal tier when necessary for the damage negation tier. So with the extra slot, I went ahead and equipped Dragon Fire. However, it's up to you, whatever breath attacks you want. Let's go with +3 Mind and +1 Faith with the runes that are left over. Next, let's head back to the round table. We're going to talk to Enya to get our 3rd talisman pouch. Let's go ahead and fill it up. I'm going to put in the Crimson Amber Medallion +1 for more HP. Next, let's head to North Liurnia to carry a manor. Here on this mark is going to be the Freeze Pot recipe. Then we'll go after Loretta on the 2nd mark and talk to Ranni on the 3rd mark. So here's a Freeze Pot recipe. Next, let's go after Loretta. Down goes Loretta. Continue on up to Ranni's Rise. Head up the lift. Talk to Ranni. Start her quest. We can't complete it just yet, or go into Nokron without fighting Radahn. Before we fight Radahn, let's go take out 2 easy bosses in Dragonbarrow. One's going to be a Putrid Avatar on the 1st mark. 2nd mark will be a Site of Grace. The 3rd mark is going to be Flying Dragon Grail. So don't forget to equip a Gold Pickle Foulfoot. You want to consume that right before the boss dies or as the boss is dying. And then switch to the Gold Scarab right as the boss is dying. So down goes a Putrid Avatar. Don't forget to switch to the Gold Scarab. And we get another tier for our Physic. The Opaline Heart tier will give us 15% to all damage negation for 3 minutes. Let's put 3 points into Vigor, 5 points into Faith. Let's go ahead and swap out the Crimson Burst Crystal tier for the Opaline Heart tier. Or, if you'd rather not use Blessing's Boon, which we're going to equip now instead of Dragonfire, we're also going to equip Howl of Shabriri instead of Flame Grant Me Strength. If you'd rather have more healing over time, you can go with the Crimson Burst Crystal tier. If you want more damage negation, you can go with the Opaline Hard tier. Either way, here's going to be our buffing routine for the rest of the run. Physic, Blessing's Boon, Golden Vow, Howl of Shabriri, then Send It. In this fight, you'll see me using Rotten Breath. It's not for the Scarlet Rot proc. That's not going to be the main reason why I use it. The main reason why I choose to use Rotten Breath is because it deals 100% physical damage. Blue Dancer Charm buffs all physical damage based on your equip load. We're at about 15.3 or 15.7 equip load, which gives us a boost to our physical damage of about 9 to 10%. Now this next part that you'll see has never happened to me, so I definitely left it in here. I don't know if this is an actual cheese, but hey, free runes, right? So the dragon takes out itself. Let's go ahead and level up. We'll be putting 1 point into Mind and 4 points into Endurance. Next, let's go after Radahn. So here on this mark is a Church of the Plague. Make sure you pick up the Sacred Tier there. We're going to be doing the Red Main Castle skip. So what you're going to want to do is go to the corner. This is the south side of Church of the Plague. Jump as the camera pans above you. Jump again. Fall all the way to the bottom. If you get the Stake America under your endurance bar, you did it correctly. Choose to revive at the Stake America, and you're now in Radahn's arena. For Radahn, head through the teleporter. Once you head through the teleporter, head straight towards the camera, which is away from Radahn. This is going to despawn him, and you can skip his arrow phase. While I'm here, I drink the Physic, put on Blessing's Boon and Golden Vow, but Howl of Shabriri is our shortest lasting buff, so I don't put that on until I'm closer to Radahn. Down goes Radahn. Don't forget the gold pick with Foulfoot and the gold scarab. Let's go ahead and spend his runes. We're going to put 2 points into Vigor, 3 points into Arcane. With Radahn down, we now have access to Nokron. So let's head to this mark from the Fort Height west side of Grace. The first boss you'll fight is the Mimic tier. So for an easy fight, unequip all your weapons before it spawns in. After it spawns in, equip everything back and easily take it out. So with the Mimic tier down, go ahead and continue on through into Nokron. In the Night Sacred Ground, you'll find the Black Wet Blade. Continue on into the Night Sacred Ground and pick up the Finger Slayer Blade. We're going to head back to Ranni's Rise. Before we give her the Finger Slayer Blade, however, let's go into the Ash of War menu and change the affinity from Blood to Occult. Give the Finger Slayer Blade to Ranni. She in turn will give you the inverted statue. We're going to want to use this at the Carrion Study Hall. So let's warp to the Church of Vows side of Grace. Follow this path. And right around here is the Carrion Study Hall. Once you make it to the Study Hall, place the statue on the pedestal. This is going to make the Carrion Study Hall upside down. Run in, make a left. We're going to drop down, turn around, and here we're going to find another piece to our build, the Mask of Confidence. This gives us +3 to Arcane. It is one less than the Albinaric Mask, but there is no debuff by wearing it. Next, let's go to the Sealed Tunnel on this mark. We're going after Smithing Stone 6s. On this second mark is a breakable statue with more Smithing Stone 6s. On the third mark is going to be a Site of Grace, just in case you die by the Rune Bear. That helps us. So first, the Sealed Tunnel. Make your way in, pick up the Smithing Stone Miner's Bell Bearing 2. You can give that to the Twin Maiden Husk for unlimited purchases of Smithing 3 and 4. Drop down to the bottom where the breakable statue is. Bait this Abductor Virgin. She'll ram into the statue. And then you can pick up the Smithing Stone 6s. Make your way out of the tunnel and towards our next mark, which houses another set of Smithing Stone 6s. We'll need this Rune Bear to break it open though. Once it breaks it open, go ahead and pick them up and we'll head on towards the Draconic Tree Sentinel. Down goes the Draconic Tree Sentinel. Let's go ahead and level up. Put 2 points into Vigor, 1 point into Arcane. Make your way into the capital. Here is going to be an Erd Tree avatar. It doesn't drop that many runes, but it drops a large golden rune. So I go ahead and take it out for the Lord's rune. So go ahead and head down these stairs, and to the left of this next set of stairs is going to be another smithing stone 6. Grab the side of grace and head down into the sewers. At the bottom of the sewers we'll be getting smithing stone 7s. There's 4. A somber smithing stone 7. And an item for later, we'll be picking up Mohg Shackle. Also while you're here, grab the Leyndell Catacomb side of grace. I don't show it and I don't grab it, but just through the hole in the wall to the left of the character, there's going to be the side of grace for getting the Lord of Blood's Exaltation later on in the playthrough. Next, let's go to Dragonbarrow, and on these 2 marks, we're going to be picking up a Somber 8 and a Somber 9. Now we have the last Somber Smithing Stones to get our Dragon Communion Seal almost to max. So let's go to EG, upgrade our Scavenger's Curved Sword to plus 20, and the Dragon Communion Seal to plus 9. Let's go back to the capital. We're going to be going into the round table. This is purely optional, but I recommend to go in here for the large golden rune. There's also going to be items in here that you won't be able to pick up after the world changes. So I suggest going through the whole round table and the whole capital in general and picking up everything that you can until the world changes. After you're done, let's go after Goldfrey. Down goes Goldfrey, and we get our last talisman pouch. Let's go ahead and fill it up. For now, I'm going to use the Erdtree's Favor +1. This is going to be until we get the Shard of Alexander after a couple more boss fights. Let's level up. We're going to put 3 points into arcane, and we're going to make our way to Morgott. And down goes Morgott. So go ahead and talk to Malenia. She's going to give you the rolled medallion. Before we continue on though, let's level up. We're going to put 4 points into arcane. So in the mountaintops, these are going to be the stops we're going to be making. Here for a golden seed. Here for the site of grace. Here we're going to fight Borealis. On this mark, there's going to be smithing stone 7s on a chair. We'll get the Site of Grace before the Fire Giant and then go to the Skull and pick up the Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. And then on this last mark will be a Sacred Tear. So let's start with the Golden Seed. And before we get the next Site of Grace, we're going to wake up this sleeping golem. There's a breakable statue. We're going to bait it to open up for smithing stone 7s. Grab the Grace and get ready to fight Borealis. Down goes Borealis. Let's go ahead and pick up the smithing stone 7s that are on the chair. Let's make our way to the Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone and the Sacred Tear. We're going to be fighting Fire Giant next, but before we do that, let's go ahead and go to the Site of Grace and level up. We're going to be putting 2 points into Vigor and 1 point into Arcane. When you're done here, get ready to fight the Fire Giant. down goes a fire giant. Before we talk to Malenia, let's go ahead and level up. We're going to be putting 4 points into Vigor. And let's talk to Malenia and head into Crumbling Farum Azula. The next boss fight is going to be the Godskin Duo. Craft as many as you can. Equip them. There's also a helper here if you need it. We're going to be using the sleep strats, so go ahead and put them to sleep and then put all your buffs on. So with the duo down, we get the Smithing Stone Miner's Bell bearing 4, which gives us access to smithing 7s and 8s with the Twin Maiden Husk. Before we go to the round table, let's put 4 points into arcane. We're going to warp to the round table and give the bell bearing to the Twin Maiden Husk. Purchase as many 7s and 8s as you need to get the weapon to plus 24 and then plus 25 with the Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. So now we have a fully maxed Scavenger's Curved Sword. Let's go ahead and get our last talisman. We're going to talk to Alexander at Radahn's Arena. Then we're going to Mount Gelmir and talk to Alexander here. And last, we'll go back to Crumbling to get the Shard of Alexander from him. So let's start here at Radahn's Arena. Exhaust his dialogue. Here he is at Mount Gelmir. Exhaust his dialogue here.
Take it.
Let's warp to the Dragon Temple Altar site of Grace and make our way through Crumbling. Here, we're going to find a Stone Sword key door. So go ahead and use it. Head up the lift. You'll find Alexander standing on a platform.
You are ready then?
Go ahead and talk to him.
Let us begin.
Have a little spar with him.
I am the great John.
Once your sparring session is over, you'll have a nice little chuckle, and he'll give you the Shard of Alexander, which is going to boost our weapon art by 15%. Let's swap out the Erd Tree's Favor +1. Put in the Shard of Alexander. Let's continue on through Crumbling. We're going to make it to this half-dead dragon. Go ahead and take it out for easy rooms. But also, just southeast of this dragon, we're going to be picking up a ancient dragon somberstone. So here it is in the gazebo. Make your way up to the next site of grace. Let's go ahead and spend our runes. We'll put 1 point into arcane. Let's make a quick trip to EG and upgrade our seal to max to +10. Let's head back to the Beside the Great Bridge side of grace. This next fight is optional, but I usually do it. It's going to be against the Draconic Tree Sentinel. You can just run past him and quit out and reload your game, and you won't have to fight him. But he doesn't seem to be much trouble, so I go ahead and take him on. For Maliketh, I go ahead and spend my runes and put another point into arcane. And down goes Maliketh. We're going to be sent to Leyndell, Ashen Capital. Let's go ahead and level up. We'll put 4 points into Vigor, 3 points into Arcane. Before we continue on to Gideon, we're going back into the sewers, but this time we're going to go from this manhole, drop down. On this beam, we're going to be picking up the Crimson Amber Medallion +2. So let's go ahead and trade out our +1 medallion for the +2 version. This next part will be optional. On this mark here, you're going to find the Erdtree's Favor +2. You'll need to use the Forbidden Land site of grace to get to it. There's going to be 2 ulcerated tree spirits, so just creep your way around until you get to it. Again, this is purely optional. Let's head back to the round table. Before we fight Gideon, we're going to get our last piece of fashion. Let's talk to Rogier. You need to rest and talk to him 3 times. He'll drop the Spellblade set and his weapon. We're interested in the Spellblade's trousers. So let's go ahead and unequip the leather boots that we have on now. And equip the Spellblade's trousers. Head back to Leyndell, Ashen Capital. And go after Gideon.
I knew you'd come to stand before the Elden Ring, to become Elden Lord. What a sad state of affairs. I commend your spirit, but alas, I know in my bones.
Down goes Gideon. Let's go ahead and spend his runes before we fight Godfrey. We're going to put 3 points into Arcane. And next up is Godfrey / Horah Loux. So down goes Horah Loux. Let's go ahead and spend his runes. We're going to put 6 points into arcane. Next up is Radagon and Elden Beast. Down goes Elden Beast, and you did it. You beat Elden Ring using Bloody Slash. But we're not quite done yet. Let's go ahead and level up. We're going to put 9 points into Arcane. Next up, we're going to fight Placidusax. So head to the beside the Great Bridge site of Grace. Head down into his arena. Put on your Physic, Blessings Boon, and Golden Vow before you walk into his arena. After the first set of Red Lightning, put on Howl Shabriri. After the second set, refill your FP. With Placidusax down, we're going to put 4 points into arcane. We're going into the consecrated snowfields, so we'll need the secret medallion halves. Here around this mark is the village of the Albinarics. You can go west from the Lascar ruined site of Grace. Talk to old Albus. Convince him to give you his half. Once he gives you the Halix Tree secret medallion right half, we're going to head back to the mountaintops of the giants. Here he is on the map again. So here is Castle Sol. We're going after Commander Niall, who has the other half to the Halix Tree secret medallion. Down goes Commander Niall. Let's go ahead and level up. We're going to put 1 point into arcane. After, we'll go up the lift and pick up the other half to the Halix Tree secret medallion. We're going to head to the Grand Lift of Rold and go into the consecrated snowfields. We'll be going to this mark for some easy runes against Theodorix. And on this mark is going to be a teleporter that's going to take us to Mohg. Mohg's going to be our next remembrance boss. So go ahead and recruit all the enemies around you. Put on your buffs. Wait for Theodorix to get aggroed by the other enemies. And you can easily take him down without him being aggroed onto you. Let's go ahead and use his runes to put 2 points into arcane. Let's head to the second mark we made. But before we go into the teleporter, we're going to have to take out this invader. After you easily take out the invader, make your way west to the teleporter. Go in, and at the first sight of Grace, this is the bird farming spot. We're not here to farm the bird though. We're going to go down to where the bird is at and fight an invader for the white mask. So what I like to do is shoot the bird, let him kill himself, and then make my way around and down. If you wanted to farm him, you can use that side of Grace to continuously respawn him. The white mask is namely going to be for pre-fight buffing. This is not a bleed build and we do not rely on bleed procs. However, here at Mohg Palace, we'll pick up the Swarm of Flies, which will increase bleed buildup, especially with the high arcane that we have. So before we continue on to Mohg, let's go back to the Leyndell sewers and into the Leyndell catacombs. Make your way through all the way up to the boss fog. We're here for the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which is going to boost our damage when blood loss occurs. Again, we won't have a lot of bleed procs, but when we do, we'll have our damage buffed by the Lord of Blood's Exaltation and by the white mask. With the Lord of Blood's Exaltation acquired, let's go back to Mohg Palace, to the Dynasty Mausoleum midpoint. Let's level up. Let's put 2 points into Arcane. So I didn't get footage of it, but on your way up here, you can pick up Swarm of Flies as ground loot. So go ahead and swap out Dragon Claw for Swarm of Flies. If you have trouble with Mohg, don't forget that we picked up Mohg's Shackle earlier. Also, we're going to swap out the Roar Medallion for the Lord of Blood's Exaltation. This is going to be our talisman lineup for the next fight, and our physic. So put on everything but Howl Shabriri. Once you're in Mohg's arena, put on Howl Shabriri, refill your FP, and send it. Down goes Mohg, and you're ready to enter the DLC. If you want to use this for the DLC, would be a very versatile build. But let's continue on. Let's head back to the Consecrated Snowfields. On this mark is going to be Ordina. Once you finish the Ordina puzzle, there's going to be a teleporter on the north side of it. Go through it into Miquella's Halictree at the first site of Grace. Let's level up. You should have enough runes now to get Arcane up to 80, which is going to be the last soft cap, and where we're going to stop putting points into Arcane. Continue on to fight Loretta. With Loretta down, let's go ahead and spend our runes. We're going to be putting 2 points into Vigor. Before we make our way to Malenia, let's go ahead and pick up one more Ash of War in the mountaintops of the Giants. Here on this mark, we're going to be picking up Seppuku. It's in an invisible teardrop scarab, so just stand by the tree and cast any breath when you see the feet going towards you. This is just going to be for pre-fight buffing. Here's the location again on the map. So let's warp to the Halictree Roots site of Grace. This is the site of Grace before Malenia. On any light weapon, you can equip seppuku, any affinity. Again, it's just for buffing. It's so we can activate the Lord of Blood's Exaltation and the White Mask. So start with the Physic, put on Blessing's Boon, Golden Vow, Hal Shabriri. Last, use seppuku, refill your FP, and send it. Down goes Malenia, and you did it. You beat Elden Ring and some of its toughest bosses using Bloody Slash as your featured weapon art. With Malenia's runes, you can put 4 points into Vigor. You can refer back to the beginning. Also, for RL 150 stats, if you aren't level capping and are going to continue the character, I suggest putting more points into Faith for better incant scaling. This will give you a really good Faith arcane build, and you can interchange almost any weapon for the Scavenger's curved sword. Thanks everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. If you haven't joined the Discord, there's going to be a link in the description as well. If there's a certain weapon or weapon art you'd like to see a build made around, you can put that in the description or ask me on the Discord. Thanks again for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.